welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kimmie. This is my attic. Welcome to 31 Days in the Attic, day 29. Yeah, there's still daylight out there. Day 29. Today, guys, we're going to rank the palettes that I tried this month, October. There were 12 of them. It felt like more. But when I went to go count them the other day, yesterday, it was 12. It came out to 12 palettes, which is actually 10 too many for someone like me to be trying, and I'll get into that. But that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to rank them, 12 being the worst, 1 being the best. I have to tell you, there really weren't any palettes this month that I just like totally blew me away. I tried some really nice ones. I tried some really shitty ones, but there weren't any that really, I mean, my number one came the closest. And I tried some good ones. I would say most of the palettes that I tried this month, they were like just okay. They were just okay palettes. I think they were okay palettes. I didn't really give any of them what I would call a fair review. Let me just tell you one thing. When I said that it was 10 too many for someone like me to try, who is someone like me? Someone like me is someone with a makeup allergy, okay? As I'm sure a lot of my people that watch me know, I have a nickel allergy. That's when I started, a couple months ago when I started on YouTube. I started with my nickel allergy series. I was diagnosed a few years ago. It's a whole big thing. I have a whole series about nickel allergies. And basically what I was doing before YouTube is I had started a blog. The static pages are like all about makeup allergies, more specifically nickel allergies. And then I would try like different makeup and mostly eyeshadow palettes, because eyeshadow palettes are where I have my problem for the most part. I have problems wearing eyeshadow palettes. So I would try an eyeshadow palette and I would give my thoughts on my blog if I liked it and also if I could wear it. And that's kind of how it started. And then when I started doing YouTube, I started with my nickel allergy series, but then I kind of like decided, oh, maybe I'll like intertwine it and I'll like do like palette reviews on YouTube also. And then one thing led to another. In a very, very short period of time, I ended up doing this 31 Days in the Attic thing, and I ended up trying 12 palettes in 1 month. So let me tell you, normally when I try a palette, I have to try a palette for at least, when you have an allergy like this, it's not like an irritation. Like an irritation, you wear some makeup, it irritates you usually right away, you take it off, whatever. An allergy is different. Usually an allergy, it'll take a couple of hours to even like do something. So this month, and I was so pushed for time this month, also because like filming every day, sometimes I would film multiple videos in a day, so I would be trying multiple things, or I would be having multiple looks. So I would try a palette, I'd wear it a couple of not even an hour or a couple of hours, take it off, and that's it. And from that, I'm getting a review. And that's not totally fair. Now, I will admit that sometimes you use a palette and you know that you hate it. But when I try a palette, for the most part, I try it, I see if it gives me a reaction. Sometimes I'll try like all the colors, like I pull them, so I'll try them all. And if I never get a reaction, I know that none of the colors give me a reaction. Sometimes I will get a reaction, I'll let it heal, I'll go back, I'll go through each color, and I'll really test a palette. It takes me a good 2 weeks or more to really legitimately test a palette, unless I know right away that I cannot wear it. And I have had a few experiences like that. This month, that didn't happen for me because of how I was testing these palettes and getting videos up every day. So I have my thoughts on the palettes, and that's like the best that I can do. And the way that I came out of this, I have no idea if I can even wear any of these palettes because I didn't give them enough of a chance to give me a reaction. I have no idea if I can wear any of these palettes. So this was a stupid thing for me to do. And I can tell you right now, on and off, I have had things like on this lid, like problems with this lid. And this is usually the eye that gets a reaction. So, and I don't know which palette did it. It could have been a few of them because I stopped and then I would use another one. You know, there's no way for me to know. So this was not the smartest thing for me to do. I just have my general thoughts and ideas of these palettes, but I have no idea, like I said, if I could wear them. So starting next, well, after this, I'm going to talk more about this on Sunday when we wrap this whole 31 days in the attic up. I am taking a short break. And when I come back, I am still going to do palette reviews, but I'm going to go back to doing them definitely not so frequently. I am someone who should be testing like a palette a month, at most 2. And that's what I'm going to go back to doing. And I'm also going to go back to vlogging and about makeup and about allergies. So I will never be testing this many palettes in a month again. It's just not a good idea for someone like me, someone with an allergy to iron oxides. Definitely not, because like I said, I don't know if I can even wear any of these. I don't know. I know some of these, probably more than one, were starting to give me some kind of reaction. I don't know exactly which ones because I didn't give it. This is not the way I would normally do things. And I even had somebody ask me, somebody from the community, the nickel allergy community, what are you doing? Like, what the hell are you doing? And I said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't think, okay? Listen, if you watch this channel and you continue to watch this channel, I promise you, it's not the first time. Won't be the last time. Whatever. We did it. We tried 12 palettes. Let's go ahead. I'll give you my thoughts on them. We will put them in order. I will tell you right now, the bottom 6 were easy. And then things get a little bit more difficult. So here it is, guys. My palettes for October. Okay, guys, in at number 12. Now, if you watched 31 Days in the Attic and you saw me try all these palettes, this is probably no big shocker, no surprise. This is Makeup Revolution, the Batman palette. Is that the name of it? I don't think it's called the Batman palette, but I don't even see the... Oh, wait. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. There's a saying on this. This palette shouldn't get too deep, believe me. Revolution, I don't know what this palette is called. It's the Batman palette. This is they came out with like a bunch of the DC comics palettes, and this was Batman. But I don't think it's called the Batman palette, but that's what it is. It's Batman palette. The name's not on it. Guys, okay, the packaging was really, really nice. Packaging kind of threw me because the packaging is just gorgeous. Even the inside of it, it's got like bats on it. The color story is beautiful. I loved it until I tried to wear it. This palette was so powdery. The formula was horrible. It had no pigment. There was nothing redeeming about this palette. By the way, guys, I will put a playlist down below of reviews of all these palettes in case you're interested in watching them, but this palette was terrible. Horrible. Like, there was, like I said, the packaging is nice, and that's kind of where it ends. And I could see why people would buy this. Like, the color story is really lovely, but this was a horrible palette. Like I said, no pigment, powdery. I didn't like the formula. I just didn't like it. Did not like it at all. And then 11 is the other Makeup Revolution palette that I tried. I just didn't care for Makeup Revolution. This was my first experience with Makeup Revolution eyeshadow. I've tried the highlighters in the past, and I never had an issue. I think the highlighters, some of their highlighters are very nice. I tried a few of them, and I always enjoyed them. But these shadows, I don't like at all. So this was from the Corpse Bride collection. I don't know. It's just called Corpse Bride. They had a few palettes in the Corpse Bride collection, but this is the only one that I picked up. It was the only one that they still had when I went to go buy it. I mean, the packaging is cute. It's a butterfly, but it feels cheap. And I can't even explain what I mean by that. It has a different feel to it. And like I said, I say in the video, this is the same price range as like I was gonna say BJ's. Another long day. I am filming this after work. This is in the same price range as like BH Cosmetics, Colourpop, Juvia's Place, and their packaging doesn't have like this kind of feeling. I don't know. Very small pan size, color story that's all over the place. The mattes were not very good. The shimmers were okay in this palette. The shimmers weren't bad. Actually, the shimmers were kind of nice, but the mattes were not good. There was a few. This one that I did try, Betrothed, this one was kind of nice, but there wasn't enough about this palette that I would ever recommend for someone to buy it, unless maybe you're really into the Corpse Bride. Then maybe you're gonna like it no matter what. Okay, so that's 12 and 11, and if you remember my BH Cosmetics palette ranking, you guys know I can't count. I can't count to 10. Well, in this case it's even worse because I have to count to 12. Okay, so that's number 12 and 11. In at number 10 is the Kylie Nightmare palette. Yes, and I believe when I reviewed this palette, I think I did say I'd rather have Freddie come for me than the Kylie palette. And you know what? I'm standing by that. I am standing by that one. This is just, this palette is basically a Nightmare on Elm Street or wherever you live. If you buy this palette, you can insert your street in the blank line, because this palette, first of all, I'll tell you what I did. Again, I liked the packaging, but I'm a sucker for packaging, okay? You put something in some, like, cute packaging, like this night, like, it has, like, Freddy's sweater or whatever, and, like, the scratches. You put something in cute packaging, and you have a very, very good chance that I'm going to purchase it. And it has a nice mirror. Packaging inside is nice. This palette is too neutral. It's too neutral for what it is. Because if you're purchasing a Nightmare on Elm Street palette, you're not purchasing it for an everyday neutral palette. Come on, we all know that this is going to be a novelty palette and you want some Freddy colors. And I was watching Teresa Is Dead. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. She was reviewing this palette. Actually, it was really funny because she came out with a review of this palette the same freaking day that I did. And she's like this big YouTuber with a huge following, and I'm like this, like, you know, just chick in her attic who has, like, I mean, seriously. And I was like, oh my God, like, we're doing like the same video. But, yes, so that was kind of funny. But in her video, she tried all the colors, and she's like a big Freddy Krueger fan, so she kind of had like an explanation for like this color. She had an explanation for this color. I don't know. I'm not a big Freddy Krueger fan. I've seen the movies, but like I have no explanations for any of these colors. This just looks like a neutral palette to me. This does not say anything Halloween. This does not say Freddy. The only two shades I would say they got right are like these two sweater shades. I think we could have lost half the neutrals. And besides that, the shadows are just not comfortable. There's a lot of shadows in this palette that are just not comfortable. I didn't like the formula on a lot of these shadows, and there is a pressed glitter in here, Springfield High, that is like the absolute worst pressed glitter I have ever, one of them that I've ever seen, if not the worst pressed glitter that I've ever seen. So that palette also falls to the bottom. So that's number 12, 11, 10, and then they get a little bit better. After that, after those bottom three, they get a little bit better, okay? Listen, you have to put all the palettes somewhere. They all can't come out at number 1. So for number 12, 11, all right, number 9, I did choose the Hocus Pocus palette, and I think I might get a lot of people that don't agree with me here, but when I did try this palette, I think I did say once again that if you liked Hocus Pocus, you would probably love this palette, because it is, you know, the packaging is really cute, and it has the sisters and the color story. The reason I put this palette towards the bottom, it's not that I don't like this palette. In fact, I didn't mind this palette, but like I said, my next few palettes, you know, I tried a lot, and none of them are really terrible after those 3. None of them are that terrible. But for me, this palette had too many pressed glitter. Matte glitters. Excuse me. I hate matte glitters. And this palette has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 matte glitters. That's 4 shades that I'm not going to use. Now, of course, if you're into matte glitters, you might like that. But I know just by watching so many videos, like, I think most people, if I had to guess, and maybe it's, you know, I'm assuming. I'm not supposed to assume things, but I'm going to assume that a lot of people don't like matte glitters. Just from what I watch and what I hear, I don't think a lot of people do. And I think 4 is too many for a palette. Other than that, this palette wasn't bad, but I don't know. I just wasn't crazy about it, so I put it there. Mainly, like I said, too many pressed glitters. So that's 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay, number 8 breaks my heart, but I have to do it. Here at number 8 is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb palette. It's not called the Gloss Bomb palette. The Bomb Posse. It's based on the lip glosses, okay? That's why I said that. It's like based on her lip gloss shades. So I think when I actually tried this in the Scariest Makeup video, and I tried like these shades, and I tried these shades, and I'm actually wearing it today. I'm wearing the middle shades. And I mean, these are these 4 shades on me, and I am very, very pale person. So the problem with this palette, and I've heard it before, this is the only Fenty palette I own, and I don't see myself buying another one anytime soon. Although I personally didn't hate this palette, I can understand why so many people did. The pigment is horrible. These shades just don't have pigment, and the shimmers are not great either. The matte formula, let me tell you something, okay? The matte formula is nice. Like the actual formula, like it goes on smooth, but it has no pigment. And the shimmer formula is nice, but it doesn't really, it's a very slight shimmer. These aren't like real, like gorgeous shimmers. Like I like a shimmer. And most of the time I don't mind a wash of color. Even this palette, I don't mind this palette. I don't hate this palette. I can see why people did hate this palette. The formula is okay. It's just, it takes a lot to get any kind of pigment. And the shimmers are definitely leave something to be desired. So this palette does definitely fall to the bottom. So that was 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Okay. Now things got a little bit difficult for me. Things got a little bit difficult for me because the rest of the palettes that I reviewed, I thought they were quite good. But at number 7 and number 6, I wasn't sure where to place these. In the end, I decided to put number 7, Milani. This is the Milani Slither in the, it's not called that. Oh, the Beautiful Nightmare palette. And this was available this year. This was, I picked mine up last year, and then they re-released it this year with 2 other Halloween palettes. Here's the color story. It's a nice color story for Halloween. I don't really have anything bad to say about this palette. Like I said, I had to put it somewhere. I was very impressed, actually, with the formula. And by the way, I didn't actually review this palette, but I did use it when I did the Kimmie Manor video. I did the makeup, Kimmie Manor and Milani makeup video, and I used this palette, and I was very impressed with it. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I don't care for color stories like this because I'm just not good with them. I never know what to do. And I'm not a fan of Milani's new formula. I was in love with Milani's old formula. They redid their formula. I don't think it's anywhere near as good. This is not as bad as the new formula. It's a little different. It reminds me a little bit of the old formula, but not quite as good. It's like in the middle. But this one shade, what's this called? Night Terror, is very, very pretty. Like, I thought this shade was beautiful if you like a shimmer. And I thought the mattes were good too. This is just a nice Halloween drugstore palette. I thought this palette was really, it was nice. It was a nice palette. And then at number 6, I decided to put the Makeup Maniac Sweater Weather. The only reason that this one is low is because it's 4 shimmers. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. However, the 4 shimmers are insanely beautiful. I mean, it's quite a formula. And if you like shimmers, I would definitely pick this up. There were 2 of these. I was very impressed overall with my Makeup Maniacs experience, and it was the first one. I never used Makeup Maniacs before, but there was Sweater Weather. I think there was like Pumpkin Pie or something. I don't know, but they're like 4 of this quad. Let me open it because I keep blinding you. There's a quad of 4 shimmers, and they're beautiful. But like, and you could wear this on its own. You could do this one and done. You do not, these matte shades, these shimmers, to me, the formula is good enough to stand alone. You don't need a matte, so you could just get this small palette as like a one and done. But even though I love the formula, I felt like I couldn't rank it any higher because it is just 4 shimmers. So that brings us to our final 5. Our final 5 palettes, and this is where things got really difficult for me, and I can't even believe I'm ranking this here. I'm used to putting Sigma at number 1, okay? I am used to ranking my Sigma palettes at number 1 because I love Sigma. I love Sigma. It's my favorite brand, but this Cinderella palette, and I was so excited when this Cinderella palette came out. I was so excited. Very, very rarely do I like make a note that I have to purchase makeup on a certain day. That never happens. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I really don't care. But this palette, when I found out that Sigma was collaborating with Disney, I bought this the first day it came out. I love these palettes, and this palette is one of the most aesthetically pleasing palettes I have ever seen. I think it is the most aesthetically pleasing palette on this list. It's just beautiful. You get a brush. I don't think this is a bad palette, but compared to the other ones that Sigma has done, I don't think it's definitely not the best. And the problem here is the mattes. There's a few problems here, but the main problem is the mattes. Now, I'm not a matte person. I'm a shimmer person. I do love the shimmers in this palette. Oh, was it one of a kind? Was that it? Oh, they're so beautiful. But, like, the problem is see, is that not a gorgeous shimmer? The problem I had with this palette was making full looks, because a lot of these colors, they just don't, like, the shimmers just don't pop on them. I didn't feel like the shimmers really popped on a lot of these colors. I think this palette's strong point was the shimmers, and it should have ran with that. It should have ran with that. It's too all over the place. I think I would have put like a lavender and maybe like a lighter pink in here, so that you could really like the shimmers were just like pop off the page. You take some of these like really dark colors, they're not like really gonna like support these shimmers. That's all I'm saying. But this green, this like courtyard green, it doesn't do anything. Like I would have kept this one, this one, this one. I think we could have lost like these two and replaced them with like one like lavender and maybe like a more like, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what I would have done, but there's definitely something wrong with this palette. Something's not quite right flowing with this palette, and the mattes just weren't as good as Sigma usually does, and they didn't really work well with the gorgeous shimmers. So to me, this palette just fell short. And it's not like me not to rank a Sigma palette at least in the top 3, but I have to be fair. I have to call it like I see it. I didn't think the Cinderella palette was Sigma's best work. I mean, if I had tried Ambiance again, it would still be number 1. It's like my favorite palette. Okay, so now I'm down to number 4. I'm down to 4 palettes. Okay, so I have an idea. I know what I'm going to do. I already decided what I was going to do before I came here. Before I shot the video, I am not going to change it. And at number 4 is Alien Cosmetics Not Normal. This was a beautiful, beautiful palette. It's actually not available anymore, which is a shame. This was my first experience with Alien Cosmetics, and I had a very good one. They sent me a lovely makeup case along with this palette, which I thought was very, very nice touch. Again, packaging is beautiful. Indie brands, they always... It's gonna rain again. I'm sorry, I heard thunder. I had to look and see what was happening. They always go all out with the packaging. Most indie brands do. I thought the formula was really, really, really nice. I think I absolutely loved this shade, Sage. I don't have anything like it. It was so beautiful. My only complaint with this palette were these two shimmers, the Topaz and what was the other one? Emotions. Was it Topaz and Emotions? Yes, Gemini and Taupe I thought were very good. They weren't what I thought they would be, but they weren't bad. All in all, I did enjoy this palette a lot. It's at number 4. And at number 3, this was the first one I did this month. I almost forgot about it. Tinkerbell, Sprinkle a Little Magic. This was a beautiful palette by Colourpop. I think it was, lately, I have to tell you, lately Colourpop has really not been letting me down. They were letting me down for a while last year when every single time I bought a palette, the shades would fall out if I opened it, God forbid, like this, and not like this. Okay? For those of you who buy Colourpop quite frequently, you probably know exactly what I'm saying. But I think Colourpop has improved it. I think they heard that this was like a big complaint. And I think they've improved it because the last few that I have purchased, I haven't had any trouble with. And I thought this palette was gorgeous. It was really, really beautiful, from the packaging to the colors to the formula. Colourpop almost always has a very steady standout formula. The only thing I mean, and you could use this, like, there were enough neutrals that you take this one out and use it as a neutral palette. You know, it's not a neutral palette, but you could use it a little bit as a neutral palette. This is a very green palette, but none of these palettes, I would really say, you know, they're really not meant for every day. They're novelty Halloween palettes or novelty fairy palettes. So I don't think you could go wrong with this one if you like greens. I thought this palette was really cute, really pretty. Number 3, and I have 2 left. Number 2, Makeup Maniacs Ooh Thing. And when I tried this palette, I think at first when I tried it, I didn't give it such a great review. Like, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I would buy this. And then I was talking about it. And towards the end of the video, I'm like, you know what? Go out and get this. Like, the more I talked about it, the more I realized what a pretty palette this is, what a nice palette this is. The oranges aren't that vibrant, but so what? Maybe you don't want vibrant oranges. The only big complaint I had about this palette, and I have to stand by that complaint, there's too many close purples. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of them are shimmers, some of them are mattes. We have 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, but they're just too close. 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, too close. They're too close to each other to all be in one palette. I think we could have had one, like, you know, 1 purple matte, 1 purple shimmer. If you wanted to do a second one, maybe make it, like, you know, total, like, much darker, just like a different color. They're very, when they're swatched out, they're very, very similar. Now, however, I am rating the whole palette. These highlighters are off the charts beautiful. I wore this one a couple of times. This one is a little too dark for me to wear as a highlighter, but it does make a gorgeous eyeshadow on me. And if you are, you know, a different skin tone, I think this highlighter would look beautiful. The formula of these highlighters is exceptional. So I am putting this palette at number 2. Unfortunately, this palette was sold out, but they are bringing it back. But I remember, I didn't check again, but I remember when I was reviewing this, they couldn't guarantee it for Halloween, but they were going to restock it. So you might be able to still get this one. Number 1, guys, the palette, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. This is another one that's not for everyone. This is the palette that I bought by mistake because I thought it was a vampire. It is really a snake. This is BH Cosmetics Venom palette. They came out with a bunch of, like, palettes named after, like, poisons, I think, or not all poisons, but I think the collection is called Poison Shock. And like I said in the video when I reviewed this, I purchased this because I saw it really fast, and for some reason I thought it was a vampire palette, and I was going to review it when I did my vampire video, but then when I opened it, I was like, there's no way this is a vampire palette. And then as I read it, I realized that this is based on a snake, which makes sense if you think of snake skin. These colors, this palette, you see, this palette is all about the shimmers. And so they gave you these 3 mattes underneath that were really going to set off these shimmers. That's like kind of the mistake I think Sigma did with the Cinderella. These shimmers are insane. They came to play. They came to win. These shimmers are incredible. But you know what? BH Cosmetics never disappoints. Very, very rarely does BH Cosmetics disappoint me. I think that they have an amazing formula. That's what got me a little bit upset about Makeup Revolution. If you're going to charge the same price as BH Cosmetics, then you need to have a formula, like, you know, that's going to compete with BH Cosmetics, like Colourpop, like Juvia's Place. They all have these phenomenal formulas. I just didn't find that to be true with Makeup Revolution. And maybe it was those 2 palettes. I'm not saying because I haven't really tried that much, but that is my take. And if you like shimmers, if you like cool tone shimmers, ooh, get this one. Get this one. This one's so fun. It's so pretty. Like if you like silvers and like grays, and there's like a purple sort of in there, then I would pick this palette up. You can get this one right at Ulta. That's where I got mine. There you go, guys. My 12 palettes that I tried in October. That's where I put them. That's where I ranked them. And that's all the palette talk we are going to have for October. We will try something else next month. I'm not sure what it will be. I do take requests, by the way, especially if you, well, from anyone, but like especially if you have like some kind of makeup allergy and you are curious if you can wear something, or you're curious if I can wear it. Like I always say, just because I can wear something doesn't necessarily mean you will be able to, but if we have the same allergy and I can't wear it, then I wouldn't buy it. Then I wouldn't buy it. I can't guarantee that you can wear it, but I can probably guarantee that you will not be able to if we have the same allergy. And I try lots of palettes. So if there's ever anything you want me to try, whatever, just let me know. Guys, did you try any of these palettes? I would love to know. How many palettes do you guys try in a month? Like, if you're into makeup. If you're not into makeup, then the answer to that question is probably, well, you know, you wear whatever you... There's glitter everywhere. I'm sorry. There's glitter from me swatching. I don't know what the hell I did, but there's makeup. I think from the swatches to the whatever, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a laundry weekend anyway. Yeah, guys, how many palettes, like, on average do you try in a month if you're a makeup collector or a makeup lover? I would really love to know. And did you try any of these palettes? And what were your thoughts on them? Leave me a comment below. I would love to know. Guys, I love to talk makeup, so I would love if you would share your makeup thoughts with me. Thank you so much for joining me. Day 29 of 31 days in the attic. I will see you tomorrow for another video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.